Oh, I love it. I love it.
I'm just showing Arash my jersey. If you're watching on the stream, you know who it is now. Some guy, a couple people on the chat had the right guess. Hey, I was a fan. And then someone's like, let me guess, Patriots fan. Started in the early 2000s. It actually started with Drew Bledsoe. I was a Drew Bledsoe fan. That's how it all started.
Sure.
Then it continued.
He had 2 tours of duty in New England, like long before you were a Patriots fan. He made his debut, drafted or signed at the USFL with the Bears. And then he went to New England like in the dismal Foxborough days and then finished up his career. I mean, Doug Flutie, by the way.
Yeah.
The end.
The drop kick. One of the greatest highlights in NFL history for me. Along with the Atlanta Super Bowl and then the interception on the goal line. And
So shameless self-promotion. I do a weekly show with Doug Flutie and Milt Stiegel called Flutie versus Stiegel. Go figure. Available on Spotify and Apple. But we were chatting a couple of weeks ago after the show. It was when the Raiders made their coaching change. And I said, man, I asked Doug, because he was with Brady for a year or two there in New England. I said, what do you think Tom's going to do? And he said, Tom is like every stone unturned. He is going to have his fingers in everything. He said in all the time he spent with Brady at the facility, he never saw him disheveled. Like Tom would even show up to like morning meetings put together. He's very meticulous. That Tom Terrific is what Flutie had to say about your boy, TB12.
I think he was married to a model, which is probably not a super model. Yeah, probably wasn't a lot of schluffing around, a lot of going out without makeup on. And Tom had a lot of work. Tom's had a lot of work done himself, though. Yeah. Tom looks like he should be driving an Escalade in downtown Kelowna these days.
Do you not find Tony Romo's done the same, but it feels like whatever needles that froze his face have kind of moved into his brain the way he's analyzing games these days?
I would say Troy Aikman. I would say Troy Aikman has had some work done. Lots.
Yeah. But Troy's still an elite analyst. I don't know what's happened to Romo. It feels like Romo has no idea what's going on the field these days.
He just kind of doubled things down with predictions, and it was like, some are gonna hit, some's gonna be black, some's gonna be red. Let's put our chips. Can't really put it in the middle. So yeah. Okay, where do
They're spinning the ball, Jim. They're spinning the ball around the wheel. It's gonna be black or red.
That's good. Jim. That's good. That's good. Okay, let's start with baseball. Oh, some money.
Yeah.
Bo Bichette.
3 years. 126 to go to the Mets. The reports are he's going to play third base. Barney, I just never got the sense at the end of the season, I know you and I talked at the end of the World Series, that Bichette was coming back. It felt like the organization wasn't really interested in a long-term deal with him, and Bo didn't really have any interest in a long-term deal with the organization. And this was almost inevitable. Now, I will admit, I'm a little surprised it was the Mets. I thought the Phillies or the Red Sox made a ton of sense. But what we've had over the last 24 hours are 2 guys, top of market guys, Kyle Tucker last night, Bichette today, who have signed short-term, heavy cash deals. They're not signing the law. Like Vladdy signed 500 over 12. Mm-hmm. Tucker last night, 4 years. Bo, 3 years. My sense in all of this, Barney, is that we're looking at a labor stoppage in 2027, and these dudes don't want to lock themselves into something. They want to have the option of seeing what's going to be out there if there's going to be a new CBA.
Very, very interesting. Do you think the Jays were actually in play with Bichette? I know we talked about it at the end of the season and where things have gone here. Was that the number that maybe Bo's representation was throwing out or around there, and they were just like, hey, yeah, we're out? Or how do you think it went down? Like, has this been something that probably didn't happen overnight?
No. I spoke with a well-placed source, late November-ish, well into the offseason. Maybe it was even into December. And the sense I got then is that the Blue Jays didn't really have interest in bringing Bichette back.
Mm.
I also never really got the sense that Bo wanted back. Now, inject into the conversation $42 million per times 3 when you're paying Vlad what you're paying, when you're paying the pitchers what you're paying, et cetera, et cetera. I almost think it almost made it a non-starter.
So when you talk labor stoppage in baseball, what are we talking at as far as odds on this maybe happening and when?
I would be shocked. I would peg it at this. I would say there is a less than 5% chance that the 2027 season starts on time.
Oh.
I would be shocked if they play 80 games. Like, it's a 162 game season. I'd be shocked if they play 80 games. I would not be surprised if they do not play baseball in 2027.
Who takes advantage of that?
The owners. The owners hold all the cards. And the owners are hell-bent on getting a salary cap in. Like, look, last night or yesterday afternoon, Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, tweeted, "I'm looking for smoke." And what he meant by that is, when there's a new pope, there's white smoke that comes out of the Vatican. He was talking about that with Kyle Tucker. The Mets were convinced they were going to get Kyle Tucker. And the Blue Jays were pretty confident, hey, we're going to get Kyle Tucker. And then you know what ended up happening? The team that's won the World Series the last 2 years, that has like 6 of the richest contracts in the game, the Dodgers ended up with Kyle Tucker. And it's like, God bless them. They're willing to spend, they're making the investments, etc. But the way the economics of the game work now, unless you have an owner, an organization that is they just care about winning, there's no financial incentive to win. The Colorado Rockies lost over 100 ball games last year, and they ended up like top 8 in revenue overall last year because of the distribution of the media rights and merch and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, so if we spend $400 million on payroll, or if we spend under $80 million in payroll, we're still going to be top 10 overall? Huh.
Yeah. The salary cap, when you, again, I not a big, huge baseball fan, was really riding it this year. It was a lot of fun. It's a casual outside observer. It's like, how is there not? And then you have what Los Angeles is doing here. Let's move on from baseball. We'll go to NFL in a bit. CFL Winter Meetings, what jumped out at you from everything that you heard? What piqued your curiosity?
Well, I heard you throwing some sound before the break. I watched the entirety of Stu Johnson's State of the League, or update, or whatever you want to call it, afterwards. I really... I was taken aback at the way people are positioning stories based on things that are just said, but not with the spirit and intent of what the commissioner is saying. Okay, the question was posed about expansion. And Stu said, look, we have no timeline. We don't know. There are inbound calls. We're listening. Stadium remains issues across the country. Nothing is burning. Nothing is imminent. The follow-up question was, would you say by 2030 then that there could be expansion? Stu was like, you know what? If by 2030 we have a team, that'd be a great timeline for us. And then suddenly the story is CFL hopes to have expansion by 2030, which was not at all the spirit of what the commissioner was saying at all. But it's like, there's this appetite by some people out there to try and create content or a storyline that doesn't exist. That was puzzling to me. That was one. The other is, I just don't understand why, at a time where the league wants to be innovative, where the league wants to make all these kinds of changes, they're still stuck in the dark ages in the final 3 minutes. We're going to play with a certain play clock for 57 minutes. We're going to change and do things differently. But in the last 3 minutes, and this guise of no lead is safe, just because the clock stops after every play doesn't make things exciting. We saw playoff games last year that just dragged. Offenses doing next to nothing. You're not incentivizing teams to have hurry-up offenses, to run 2-minute offenses, etc. I thought that was a real miss by the league. There are ways to make the last 3 minutes a lot more exciting. The way the clock is working is not it.
What would you do if it was up to you?
With the final 3 minutes?
Yeah.
I would run it the exact same way the first 57 minutes go. No, but here's what I would do. I would give every team an extra timeout per half. Because then it becomes strategic. Like when we watch the NFL playoffs last weekend, this weekend, whatever, because we all play Madden, we feel like we are actually knowing how to operate the clock. And you know what? In a lot of ways, we're probably better than some of those coaches. Legitimately. Stopping the clock after every play and then having it whistled in, etc. Give them timeouts, and then let's go watch that unfold. Let's get the teams running up to the line. Let's get guys out of bounds. Let's make this. That's exciting football. That's the way I would do it. Timeout strategy matters.
I don't mind the extra timeouts. The one thing that I'm starting to think, why are we hung up on 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Right?
Just the 3 minute warning, yeah.
You know, and don't shoot me, don't come at me here. I'm just saying, it's like 3 minutes. Okay, then maybe do we move that to 2-ish? I have
no problem. Yeah, I have no problem with the 3. But I just, somewhere along the way, we have to understand that there's a difference between entertainment and a close final score.
So I'm to be honest with you, I'm all of
possessions.
Yeah, I'm all about listening to this. I do not want it like the NFL. I want somehow, some way, and I'm trying to figure it out in my brain. I want like somewhere in the middle, like a hybrid. So it does drag at times, you know, but are we sacrificing or are we gaining something somewhere else with how our game finishes? I don't know. The one thing that I'm really, and we had a few text messages here just in the last little bit here, is how many people actually think the game drags. I knew that there were some people that were on that boat. I didn't think it was a big of a deal as it is. So they're looking at it. That's great. I don't want the kneel down thing. I just find, you know, it's like, okay, well, and especially if you got a sprinkle in play. That's another reason the CFL is just awesome. It's like, no, you guys leave. There's still 2 minutes here left, and I'm still in play with this ticket. But that's excitement to me, and to each their own. The Olympic talk, they talked about that. You know where I stand there. A, we got to qualify, and B, I am ultra, curious on who tries out, who can play the game, and who maybe they would take. Like, I think I told you, I asked Tavon Campbell, and he was like, it's like no one ever asked him the question. And I'm like, would you consider?
So they want to play through, like the appetite was that they want to play through the Olympics. I think that's a mistake on two fronts. I think it's a mistake on the football front because you're going to be taking a few quality players away from their team, and that changes the competitive balance. Like, look, I don't think we're telling tales out of school here when we predict that Team Canada will probably want Nathan Rourke as its quarterback. That removes Nathan Rourke from 4-ish weeks, at least, with training camps, etc., from the BC Lions. Now, the other thing, Barney, is why, like it's not just the Olympics. In 2028, it's the LA Olympics, which means for the first time in a long time, it's a favorable time zone for North America as a TV streaming property. Why do you want to go head to head with both the Blue Jays and the Olympics when it comes to trying to get eyeballs? It's already hard enough in a competitive entertainment market and a competitive entertainment environment. I would almost give the guys an Olympic break, just like hockey's doing, and just say, hey, there's a 2 week, 3 week, 2 week Olympic break, your bye week, and then come back. That's the way I would approach it from a business standpoint, from an entertainment standpoint, and from a competitive balanced football standpoint.
I'm listening. I don't mind that. We'll see where it goes. Okay, let's go. We got about 3-ish minutes, almost 4. NFL. Nico, let's start with the Patriots game. I don't think
Sure.
I think we're in one. I hate saying I'm not part of the team. I'm not getting my ankles taped Sunday. I'm not there. I'll be driving in these snow drifts outside here. I think the Patriots are in tough. Houston's defense is good. I think the Patriots are going to push Houston in areas that they haven't been pushed in. My X factor in this game, even though Nico Collins is now out for Houston, my X factor, Drake May, will he run? Will he give them that wrinkle, which he can?
I was listening to RG3 today, something like that. And
yesterday on McAfee?
On Dan Patrick.
Patrick, yeah.
And that's what he talked about. He said, look, and remember last week we were talking, I said, don't worry about the Chargers. The Patriots pass rush is going to exploit their 2 tackles missing. That's going to be a problem. Houston's pass rush is now going to do the same to New England's offensive line.
Yep.
And one thing RG3 talked about, he said, look, when you come into the huddle and you start calling these plays, the offensive line will sometimes look at you and be like, man, what are you talking about? We can't hold up with these guys. He said, as a quarterback, if you take off running, suddenly that gives a little bit of a boost to these guys. The Patriots want to grind that Houston defense for the first 2.5, 3 quarters. They want that Houston defense to be exhausted by the time the fourth quarter rolls around. That gives them a better chance to win. I'm not buying CJ Stroud right now. Without Nico Collins, that's going to be a problem. But 3 and outs, short drive punt, that's not the ticket, even if it's going to be a low-scoring game. Just grind that Texans defense, and however it takes. And if it means Drake May running around, so be it. Roll with it.
Screen game. Love sure. The screen game. Let's throw in a bunch of screens. I think personally, looking at Sports Select, not that this is sprinkle of the day, but can almost be in there. It's one of the lines that doesn't make any sense to me. I think Denver wins by way. I'm going to the credit union. Both farms. Let's roll Denver -1.5.
You know what's amazing, Barney? We started this week with Denver as a 1.5 dog. That line has flipped 3 points. You can understand why. Who is Josh Allen's number 1 skilled player weapon?
Himself.
Himself. It's Josh Allen versus the world, but there is not a legitimate receiver. I guess Brandon Cooks that he can rely on. Denver's defense just had a week. It's tough playing up there Mile High. I'm with you. I like the Broncos a lot.
We're going to see a lot. We're going to learn a lot, I feel, about the Buffalo coaching staff in this game. The wrinkle, the chess match, what are they going to throw at him? Because Denver is going to go, that's the guy we got to stop. Do you have any? Yeah. Now, where's the coaching come in? Colson's looked it up. I think he's got some viz of it. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be cold in Chi-Town. The Bears and Rams. Los Angeles is a 4-point favorite. Look at this. Look at this. If you're not watching the stream, it looks like Regina this morning. The snow is sideways.
Yabba dabba do. I will say this. Matt Stafford did play in the NFC North for a long time. He, with all those years in Detroit. So he's gone into Chicago. He's gone into Green Bay. I think it's as much of a competitive disadvantage for the Bears as it is the Rams. Like the Bears are practicing indoors. They're not putting their players out there. Like, the question becomes, how do you count out Caleb Williams in the fourth quarter? He's a video game. Like last week, he had almost 200 total yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks in the fourth quarter. They're a different team in the final 15 minutes than they are the first 45.
I thought we were going into like some Flintstones stuff here with the. I thought you wanted to. No, Fred. 49ers Seahawks. A guy with the name of Barney. I better be able to do a Barney impersonation, right?
That was pretty cool.
49ers Seahawks. I can't see it. I would love to see it for the storyline. This would be Miracle Herb Brooks style, where how banged up, not that level, I mean, I'm being facetious, but how banged up San Fran is, and they went into Philly and won. Speaking of coaching staff, and Brock Purdy he's a baller, man. I didn't really believe in him, starting to really believe. Let's go with the spread. 7 points, Seattle.
I am old enough to remember 2 Saturdays ago when San Francisco went up to Seattle and got smacked around and their offense couldn't do a thing. We spend so much time talking about Sam Darnold not being a playoff performer, and we spend so much time talking about the Texans' defense, that what Seattle does on the defensive side of the ball is almost lost here. That Seahawks D is legit. My prediction, actually, Barney, is that the Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl. So I just think they roll San Francisco again, just like they did 2 weeks ago.
All right. We're up against it. There we go. It'll be interesting. We get to regroup on Tuesday. Tell Doug.
I owe you an interview with Doug Flutie. We will make that happen. I had forgotten. I love that.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Have a great weekend.
You too.